Digby. I feel like this is deja vu. We've seen this before. Digby to Oval. Oval. Back to Digby. Digby. Back to, guess who? Oval. Oval takes it down below to Guerra. Guerra. Guggen. Guerra. Shot. Intercepting the pass in the neutral zone. Steno can't hang on to it. Guggen's and Steno on the near side boards, working it, trying to work that puck. It's under Odessa's body. Over to Olds. Olds to Digby. I feel like this is deja vu. We've seen Olds. Digby to Olds. Olds back. Digby. Back to gets who? Olds.
Okay, ready. 3, 2. You taught me that. 3, 2.
Gloves off. Episode number 4. Chad Siewert, Sam Sequenzia, who's remote. He's working on a project right now, joined with legendary voice of the Brahmas, now Portland Winterhawks, Nick Marek. What's up, buddy?
Chad, how are you, man? It's been a while. I'm glad we got the chat. Thanks for having me on the podcast. We even got a new rebrand here, huh? Out with the old, in with the new. I like it. Gloves off.
Well, listen, I was going to go to 100. We were almost to 100 episodes when COVID hit of the old Inside the Bullpen.
Yep.
It was getting stale. Like, everybody's moving to doing more video stuff, YouTube stuff. I think we got to 93 episodes, and I said, you know what? Forget it. Let's just figure out the video format. So we're zooming through September, and then we'll get to a live set, a talk show. It's gonna be good.
Like it. Hey, I have a tough act to follow with Dan. Dan was he was a good one last week.
Dan, yeah, he's a tough one. You know, he's a fun guy. He's a fun guy. Audio. So you're in looks like sunny Oregon woods there.
I am. I had to step outside. Amanda's doing a little work in, so I figured I would take in some fresh air, at least better lighting on this face. You know, I don't have a face for TV at all, so I had to make myself look as good as we could. Got the Brahmas repping on here in Oregon. Things are going really well in terms of our hot spells kind of through. Obviously, everyone tuning in Texas is going to laugh at me, but there's no AC up here in Oregon anymore, so it gets toasty.
How is that life in Portland? You guys, is that team? I mean, you draw like 4 times the people that Brahmas have. You have big crowds, and that's a big deal in that town, huh?
Yeah, there are some really good crowds. On a really good day, like some of our big specialty nights, like a New Year's Eve kind of night, the team will get about 10,000 fans in, which is wild because they play at the Moda Center for that one, which is the home of the Portland Trailblazers. So the NBA team, has the main rights, but every once in a while when the Winterhawks can get in there, we try to get about 15 games there or so a season, with that one being one of them. But yeah, anywhere from about probably 4,000 to 6,000 is kind of like a normal crowd.
That's crazy. And for those Brahma fans who don't know, Nick is still in junior hockey, but it is major junior. So you have the Quebec League, you have Ontario Hockey League, and the Western Hockey League, and you guys are in the Western Hockey League. One of only 3 teams in the U.S.?
Yeah, there's 5 total. We're the only one in Oregon. There's 4 in Washington.
So let me see if I can get up top of my head. You got Everett, you've got Seattle Thunderbirds still in there, right?
Yep.
And who else?
Tri-City Americans, who are in Kennewick.
Okay.
So they're a little bit eastern Washington, and then Spokane.
Oh, right. Spokane
Chiefs.
That's awesome. So who's the biggest rival? Who's the Hawks' biggest rival?
Seattle for sure. Always Portland-Seattle rivalry up here. You learn that quickly, which is ironic because there's not a Portland. There's a Portland NBA team, but there's not a Seattle NBA team anymore. There's not a Portland football team, but there's a Seattle football team. There's not an NHL Portland team. Now there's going to be a Seattle NHL team. So it's kind of funny, even though there's a rivalry, there's also a lot of fan base in both cities, because that's what their pull is going to be in terms of the market and what's going to be on national television. But they're really big. Most recently, since I've been up here, Everett's been a big rival as well because they've been a very good team. And a couple connections for Brahma fans. Dennis Williams is the head coach at the Everett Silvertips. He was the former Amarillo Bulls coach about probably 5 or 6 years ago now. I think that was the year before I started in Brahma land. He was the coach of the Bulls.
Yeah.
and Dan, I know Fonger knows him well.
Yeah.
But there's quite a few connections from Texas, which is surprising. We had a couple of prospects from like the Dallas Stars Elite program that was there. One that's currently playing for us now is Cross Hannis. I know he skates a ton with Dan in the summers.
Yep.
Andy Moog is always in and out of Brahma land. He's also in and out of Portland. So it's kind of cool to see how the hockey connections, run from Texas all the way up to the Pacific Northwest up here.
That's awesome. And where do you guys stream in your games? You're not on Hockey TV's WT.
No, we aren't. But it's like a hockey TV platform for right now. They've been streaming it on. It's called New Lion.
Okay, yeah. CHL used to use that back in the day.
Yep. I was gonna say, I know you'll be familiar with it. But I think there's talks that the whole CHL umbrella might be moving under a different platform potentially this year. But of course, with all things going on in COVID, I haven't heard too much. I just know last year we signed like a 1-year bridge kind of contract with New Lion because the QMJHL and the OHL had one more year of it. So they might be moving on to something new. I mean, personally, it'd be really cool if a streaming platform would go to like Hulu Sports or Amazon type thing where it's more of like a subscription base that people are more aware of.
Well, hopefully it will. I mean, I know that we're committed to Hockey TV for another year.
Yep.
It's all good. We have our bugs with it like usual, but
Yep.
I think everybody does.
Of course.
Dustin he's doing it. He's committed to broadcasting again this coming year. He's following in your shoes. He keeps saying he has big shoes to fill, but
he's filled them now.
Yeah.
He's what, year 4?
Gosh, has it already been that long? Well, I guess it has. Yeah.
I think it has.
Yeah. He does great. The only difference with Dustin is he's not in the office every day.
Right.
He has his job. So, but when he comes in, it's smooth sailing. It's fun times. And then Patrick, you remember Patrick, who was technically producing. So he does the 3HO games. And he technically produces them and calls them at the same time. So
love those guys. I always tune in when I can. Obviously, it's harder when you're running your own games because all the games on the weekends always run together. But the one funny part too is I was actually just talking with Walt the other day, and Walt Ruff and I were talking about the Seattle Mariners, and he texted me and he was like, "Hey, I've been watching the Mariners broadcast, and they had a prospect that just got called up, and it was like Dustin Wilton or something like that, but the play-by-play announcer called it Dustin Walton." So me and Walt were laughing like, "Oh, that's nice." They gave a shout out to the Brahmas announcer, great over there.
Well, Walty, I guess, is moving on to something new here. We got to get him up here pretty soon.
He is. I'm sure he'll be joining on the Gloves Off podcast in no time.
Absolutely. We were, Dustin has done a good job in decorating his suits. He's been themed around for Christmas.
Yes.
But, still nothing tops the $100 bill suit that Walt Ruff.
I saw he got his trading card this year too.
He got a trading card. How about that?
That's cool.
That's when you made it. That's when you
That's when you know the festive suit and all. I loved it.
I love it. Well, it's all good. I mean, how did it go for you guys with the ending of the season? I mean, how did that work when Corona hit? Because it was about the same time as us. It was March 12th for us. I think NAHL probably announced right after your league announced, or USHL.
They did. It was the same exact frustration I know Brahma fans went through. Obviously, myself being a part of that bunch where hockey got canceled. You're kind of waiting to see what they're going to do about playoffs, if they're going to have a rebirth, and they could bring it back maybe in April, and the April pushed into May pushed into June, and then it got canceled. But it was, the Brahmas were cruising this year. It was incredible what was going on in North Richland Hills, and here we are up here in Portland, and kind of similar situation. We were in first place at the time in the entire league and had a really good chance to win the championship, maybe go to the Memorial Cup, which is where the winner of the WHL plays the OHL and QMJHL winner. So that was kind of the dream for our team, was to make a push for it. They had a really strong group, and then everything just got cut short. So it just kind of in the snap of a fingers got taken from us, and the games got canceled and postponed to they kept getting pushed back to hopefully make them up. And eventually we're kind of in the situation now where here we are in September, and it's like, all right, let's hope we can get ready for the next season starting this winter.
So have they announced, isn't it like a December start, or?
It is. It's still a December 4th start for right now. Obviously we're all waiting on pins and needles to see if it's going to happen. I think with things going on because of how many Canadians we have on the roster, which obviously we don't have as much as other Canadian teams, but I think 70% of our roster still is up in Canada. So now it's going to be a government issue if they can come across, and if they could do the whole 2-week isolation and then get to the training camp, how testing is going to work for teams. Are you just going to play within your division? What's the travel restrictions going to be like? Are you going to have capacity? Because I know I heard that there's got to be at least some kind of fan base to have a season. I'm sure very much like the Brahmas and the NHL would do. You have to have at least some fans to be able to entertain having a season, and we're in that same exact boat. So it's just kind of you're twiddling your thumbs and hoping and praying things line up and everything kind of can fix itself. But if not, it might be a dark year for a lot of teams. It could be the NHL, USHL, WHL, OHL, AHL. Who knows? So I'm just staying optimistic and just hoping we can all get back to hockey and the sport we love.
Yeah, I mean, we're very optimistic and excited about the future. Now, the immigration thing, like you with kids coming from Canada, we're dealing with the same thing. We've got our international players. Dan has been this is peeling the curtain back a little bit for the Brahma fans, but Dan's been on the phone with our Congressman Burgess in his office and working on whatever he can do to get Patrick's Ozils back over here from Latvia.
Yep.
And we have 2 Swedish players, and then we just picked up.
You got Sorensen, right? You just picked him up in the dispersal draft?
Yeah, and so there's a whole issue with getting those guys over here. And, I just finally polished off this nice 100-page document on return to hockey from the North American Hockey League. COVID protocols are all in there, and the owners all had to agree and everything. There's a whole mile-long list of things that we have to do before we're even allowing our guys to show up here. But as far as we stand, the email has gone out to the players. They are reporting here in a few weeks, and they're COVID testing before. They're COVID testing when they get on the ground here, and they're not going to be allowed in the building until we get a negative. And then once they're in the building, it's up to us to keep them, healthy. And it's a mess. The billets are all going to have to be safe as well, and there's a whole bunch of procedures and protocols for them. But we're optimistic, like you. We're smiling and ready. And the remaining owners of the South, I guess you saw there's 2 teams have opted out.
I did. Yeah, I saw Corpus and Kansas City. They're going to just opt out for the year, huh?
Yeah, well, and I don't know. I mean, obviously I don't work for either team, so I can't really speak clearly on either one of those. But
yeah, of course.
Kansas City, they were moving to a new arena, obviously from Topeka over to Kansas City. So there could have been some hiccups associated with that.
True.
But the remaining 6 owners in the South are all committed and are all ready. And as far as I heard an hour ago, we're still targeting October 9th for a start date. So let's hope that stays where it is.
Hey, I would love it, because then Brahma games would be streamed to my TV while I'm waiting for the December start for us.
And, there's some things we have to work out with fans. We have to wear masks. We have to 50% capacity. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of changes, but if we can all follow the rules and, do what needs to be done, we shouldn't have any problems.
I think part of it, too, is fans are going to be so eager just to get back to live sports and watching the Brahmas again that you wouldn't mind wearing a mask for 2.5 hours if it means at least getting to watch a live sport and cheering on the guys and seeing familiar faces and all your friends and season ticket holders that you're around. I think that's kind of the whole fun environment that we all realize we really miss when we're sitting at home trying to catch up on all the Netflix shows and Hulu, and we're trying to figure out what to do and what hobbies to pick up. So I know I'm just ready to be able to actually get back and start mingling with people again. So, hey, whatever it takes for me, I'll do it.
And our guys are hungry. I mean, we were, like you, we were the best team in the North American Hockey League. It wasn't even close when the season shut down. How about that Mitchell Gibson record getting tied? Can you believe that ever happened?
Insane. I was trying to get the scoop from a couple people down in Texas of how good the tandem really was, and it sounded like it was very, very similar to a couple of the big tandems that we had when I was down there. Even starting probably with TJ Black and Jake Kupski, and then obviously Gibson. Him and Feeney were on a whole new level with him setting the shutout record, but it would sound like this pair almost maybe topped that.
Oh, it's comical. It's comical because I remember I think I was telling you and Megan Kim right after Mitchell got drafted, saying no one's ever going to touch 11 shutouts in a year.
And what, 2 years later?
2 years later, he did it in 53 games.
Where's Bailey's now? Where he's is he in Northern Michigan?
Michigan Tech. Which one's the Huskies?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and in person at the beginning of the year, Dan was saying, "Hey, this guy coming from Sweden, this is the guy." The league changed last year. They changed the rule, Nick, on imports. So if you take a goalie import, it counts as 2 of your 4 imports.
Okay.
So for Dan to risk 2 spots on one guy, he had to be special, and he was. I mean, he had 8 shutouts. It's not like not like he was garbage or anything.
No.
But
But it's funny when you're almost. I mean, you hate to say living under the shadows, but it almost kind of felt like that based on when Bailey kind of just took the role, and he ended up. Did he end up with 12?
he had 11, but we had 7 games remaining on the season, and there was, I think, 3 against Odessa who couldn't score. They couldn't hit a puck out of a wet paper bag. They were just no disrespect to Odessa.
But poor Jackalopes. They never seemed to get out of the basement. They just couldn't figure that one out.
They couldn't figure it out, and we were surging. And guys like Joey Baez, who was scoring at will. January 3rd, 4th, and 5th, we played Odessa here, and in the production room behind the technically directing computer, we had a chart where everybody was wagering on how many goals for the weekend Baez was. I put 10. That was my wager. He ended up with, I think, 7. It was pretty funny, though.
He had a couple of hat tricks. I know he was I remember Baez big time. He was an awesome kid when I was there. I only got to meet him for just like a couple of weeks, though. But he was one that was almost not even a project. Like, his skill was there, but I knew it was one of those, like, okay, if this kid hangs on another year, he's going to be really good the next year. And I feel like him and Matt Garrett kind of both took that little leap together.
They did, and they wore 52 and 53. They were like a couple little
Love
buddies
that.
out there running around.
You know, one thing I was thinking about before we hopped on this podcast, Chad, was the fact that I think we need like Joey or someone to stay in the Brahmas for a while, because I think he's the only actual Brahma now that I would be able to say, like, I know. Everyone else is now coming after, so it's sad for me. Like, my tie there is, like, in terms of the players' tie, is I don't know any of the guys, so I got to get all my knowledge through you now. You're going to be the one teaching me, you and Dustin and Patrick and Sam and Frank and Matt, everyone.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, time moves on. We're getting old, buddy.
We are getting old.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. You know, we keep talking about, we've had, I think, 100 Division I commits now since joining the league in 2013. Wow. Last year, we had a record year with, again, off the top of my head, we don't do a lot of research on gloves off, just like we didn't on. We had 3 guys committed to Air Force and 3 guys committed to Army, maybe even more than that last year. It was insane how many service schools we had guys committed to. But
well, I'm glad I don't have to waste more ink on our game program pages by trying to fit 100 people in there.
No, and hey, listen, game program is sign of the times. Moving on, we're going not virtual. We're going
digital?
Going on digital for it. That's
love that.
So now every little ad can be clicked on and everything.
Hey, it'll save our good little saving computer too. I'm sure that'll the printer will appreciate us.
The printer will thank us very, very much, especially on Friday nights at about 6 o'clock.
Oh, big time. When it's like, hey, we got to print off like 8 more copies. All right.
Well, Nick, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take literally like a 3-second break to say a little word from our sponsor. Did you know this episode was sponsored by Epic Waters?
Epic Waters.
Epic Waters wasn't even open when you were here, I don't think.
No, they weren't.
It's America's largest indoor water park. And you, the Brahma fan, could win one of these. See that right there? Free admission to Epic Waters.
Oh, love that.
Chuck-a-puck this year. How about that?
I love that. That's awesome.
There you go. There's your spot for Epic Waters. So, yeah, they're a Chuck-a-puck prize winner. Awesome. It's indoor, so it's open all year round, climate controlled. Their lazy river has waves, too. How about that?
Wow. All right, so I might need to come back just for that, then, in other words.
Come back.
Not just to see Brahma Land, but
I'll save a few of these just for you, okay, buddy?
Yes.
You and a man.
You know what I was thinking too when we were coming on? We don't have any more movies coming up because the theaters have been closed. So we don't have we need our Lego Man sponsor or somebody.
I know. I mean, when's Lego Ninjago 2 going to come out, for crying out?
Come on. They probably got put on hold. They were probably in production, but now we got to wait till the winter.
when I would broadcast games, every year I'm going to get 2 or 3. Just now that I can say I know how to do it, I'm not great at it, but if someone gets sick or whatever, I'll jump in there. My go-to sponsor was the Golden Girls Chia Pet dolls.
Yes.
They had Dorothy, Blanche, Sophia, and Rose, Nick. They had them all at Amazon.
That's on brand. That's very much on brand. I love it.
All right. Well, speaking of funny sponsors from back in the day, Nick, we're gonna have a little fun here with a segment that I'm gonna call "Farmers Only Favorite Things with Nick."
Yes.
You know, you don't have to be lonely at farmersonly.com, Nick. I'm sure you're aware.
Farmersonly.com.
All right, Nick. What was your favorite call ever? Could be a game, a goal, a fight during your Brahma career.
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel there's a couple. I think the one that everyone always came up to me on was the clinching one when Sean Giles scored and the dust off the dancing shoes, the Brahmas going back to the ball. I think that one just kind of stuck with a couple of the big season ticket holders, and some of the off-ice officials always come back and kind of jab me on that one. I love that we got to make the bad calls of the week, the homer calls of the week with the
you can't do that.
One. You can't do that. That was
Robert Morgan should be ashamed.
I wish we could blow that one up a little bit more. You know what the funny part was? Walt and I were talking about it, and we were laughing. We're like, oh, but they must have been ashamed because Santoro, I think, only made it 1 year, and Robert Morris. There's no correlation between the two, and I don't actually know what happened with the career, but it was just funny when I saw the transaction report go through. I'm like, yeah, they probably listened to that call. I think one of the more fun ones, even though it wasn't necessarily like a call in particular, but was having the Robbie Cup in Brahmaland when the Austin Bruins came to town. I know it wasn't the result any of us wanted, but just the fact that we could be that home fan environment before they went to the, let's travel to a neutral site to make it more of like a scouting showcase for some of the older players. I love that. I had a blast. Like there were so many games that I thoroughly enjoyed, and so many like odd, funny stories that came from some of those too, especially with some of the road trip ones. There's too many to count, but I think that's a good start.
How about favorite fight? Did you have a favorite fight in your Ramadan? We had a lot of them. Remember, we had a sponsor. We had the ITS Tactical Fight of the Night.
Oh man, what fight stood out? This one's tough because I want to think like if it was a good fight, like a good scrap, because there were too many of those. I think there were a couple good momentum ones. I feel like back in like my first year with Uchin and Egan, those guys would kind of throw down Sturtzinger to like kind of switch some momentum. I'm drawing a blank on this one though, Chad. I'm drawing a blank.
When you've been in hockey long enough, they all kind of blur together.
They do. They oddly do. But I just know from that season, I feel like all the fights there were super meaningful because whenever it happened, it would seem like it would just super spark momentum with that team. Whatever it was, just the grit would kind of come out. And there were a ton of skilled guys, but it was also like they could play both ways, where you could play skilled and you could play hard. And it's always the Dan Wildfong way. Same with the teams the past couple of years. So I don't want to cop out in this one, but I don't know if I really have one. But obviously, like the some of the brawls that there were in preseason stuff would always stand out. But I'm like, I can't really count those because the games didn't count for anything then.
No, it's just guys trying to make their mark. Well, how about this? I know this one you've got an answer for. Favorite barn besides the Shoebox that you worked in during the NAHL era?
I think this one's probably from like a perspective location. It would either be Corpus or Amarillo. Yeah. I love the purchase from there. Probably Amarillo is my favorite in terms of just being secluded. You had your own little spot, got to work next to Dennis. The off-ice officials right there, so it was easy to kind of get some info relayed if you needed a little help, kind of like it is in Brahmaland. I think that one's probably the best. But not going to lie, when the Brahmas won the Robbie, that was a awesome spot to be in Duluth. To be able to call that and be a part of the atmosphere. And we were right on top of the benches. So me and Megan were side by side. And I remember that story when there was a couple minutes left. I looked at Megan. Megan kind of looked at me, and the Brahmas were up by 1 at the time. And I was like calling, but like pointing down to the ice, like go get down there. Like you get ready. You're going on the ice. Like you're being a part of it. You're taking pictures. You're getting the access. So in terms of like a rink memory, that one's always going to stay with me forever, just because that's when a championship was made. But there are a lot of good rinks in the NA, and I think it's going to be really fun now too that the Wichita Falls is coming back, and good old Kay Yeager. We'll see if they have the same coach way up there, where you gotta duck down and get your little bend to see the power play time.
Binoculars going.
Yeah, a couple binoculars going.
All right. What about your favorite dish at Zuroma?
Ooh, good question. We just talked about this. Honestly, my favorite ones were off the menu. Whenever I was just like, Ricardo, I need something spicy today, and he was like, Nick, I got you, and he would come with like this nice, like spicy jalapeno gnocchi. That was fire. Of course, you always go with the Zuki. Zuki for the desserts, a big win. But I would go all over the menu. I missed the barbecue chicken pizza. I would mix it up with Easley and get their salads. But definitely anything special from Ricardo with any little flavor of spice is always number one.
All right. Very good. Very good. Okay. How about this one? Favorite former player or current player to play NHL hockey with on your Xbox?
You know what? I haven't really actually played any Chell with the guys in Xbox. I still follow a couple of them. Like I'm on there with Sean Giles and Alex Berardinelli. I always love those guys. I feel like I still keep in contact with Gibson as much as I can. He was a great kid in general. So many guys as well, but I can't actually answer that one because I don't think I've ever played Chell outside. Like Walt Ruff would have to be my answer there. Him and I will play. Actually, we've been playing weekly now together online and trying to spank some butt.
There you go. All right. Favorite team to beat, either in the NAHL or WHL. Who gives you
favorite team to beat in the WHL now is easily Seattle, because those fans absolutely loathe the Winterhawks. They loathe us. They have a whole Portland doesn't even have to be in town. It could be Seattle versus Everett playing in Seattle, and they'll still have their Portland sucks chant. So that one's very rewarding to win those games. I think from the Brahmas standpoint, it always felt good when they could beat the Mudbugs. I know it was more of a later rivalry too, especially with Carla Zernis there at the time. It was him and Wildfong. It was such a good coaching rivalry, and I know they loved each other, but they hated each other when they went to the games. I think that was probably the most fun one.
Yeah, and the Mudbugs, up until last year, obviously we didn't get to see how last year finished. They beat us the 2 previous years in the playoffs. Right. They knocked us out. So that
redemption tour, it was coming.
Yeah, man. All right. And look at this. This just in, ladies and gentlemen. We have a guest.
The official crash of the show has happened.
Frank, let's go.
How are you, Nick? Great to see you.
Great to see you. We got gloves off over here.
Gloves off. First of all, and most importantly, I want to make sure that we shout out officially to you and Amanda. It's great to see you. Send our love to Amanda. We miss you.
I happily will. I hope you do the same too to Karen and the whole Trezera clan and everyone in Brahmaland.
I will. Thank you. So I have 3 very simple trivia questions. I'm going to bring you some trivia questions.
Oh boy.
Oh, it's trivia with Frank.
I didn't study, Frank.
Here we go.
Easy stuff.
Okay.
Easy stuff. Okay. Everyone knows who leads the Brahmas all time in coaching victories.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
The answer is
That's
Dan
Dan
Wildfong.
It's got to be Wildfong. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't Chad?
Wildfong.
Wasn't Chad.
No, it was not me. I have 0.
It had to be you.
So the question is, who's second on that list?
Oh. Well, see, this is going to be before your era, Nick, because Dan's been the only coach here since 07.
Right. Does it have to be with the Brahmas? Could it be junior Brahmas stuff?
I'm going to leave that to you guys because I don't even know the answer. Okay, so
so you come in with a trivia question.
Nice.
The answer. Well, it would have to be Al Sims probably back in the.
I think that's good. It's Al Sims. There would be there were a couple of occasions where Dan may have missed a game, either an illness or a suspension, or now theoretically he would get credit for the victory.
Credit. Yeah,
true.
But there were a couple of guys that did fill in for Dan.
Ron Vogel.
I think Craig Menard even one time.
Craig Menard.
But those guys maybe would have 1 win each. But you do have Potsy. You would have a guy like Al Sims is probably next on that list. But wasn't
Terry Menard?
What about McDonald? Was it Bill McDonald, or was he not a coach? He was an assistant?
Boy, I mean, that's going back 18 years. This is deep, hard-hitting trivia.
That's the kind of
It
trivia.
is.
That's the kind of trivia that I bring.
You
here.
definitely stumped me there, Frank.
Typically, you need to know the answer to the trivia question.
But typically, it's you two guys that have the answers to this stuff. Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. I'm really going to go short. I only have a second trivia question, and that would be, when would it be that Amanda and Nick would revisit us here in Brahmaland?
It better be soon.
Okay.
Like
That's
it's
the
gonna be an early trip after COVID. 100%.
That's the proper answer. That's the answer we were looking for.
100%.
Carry on, man. You're doing a great job. And I'm curious to see. Well, I won't let the cat out of the bag or the monkey out of the bag. I'm looking to the answer.
Okay.
I'm looking for that answer.
Okay. Yeah.
Carry on.
Great to see you, Frank.
Great to see you, buddy.
That was a surprise and bonus segment.
Yes, it
Trivia with
was.
Frank. I love it when someone brings trivia questions that they don't know the
I
answer.
don't even know the answer to. I'm like, oh boy. Chad, I know you probably saw my face. I'm just like, I'm staying out of this one. I don't even know this answer.
But it's funny because Dan has almost 600 wins.
Right.
The team
Yeah, I was only
so
there.
bad before we moved to NYTEX, but
He
I don't think
doubled it.
anybody 30 wins maybe.
That would probably sound right. And I know he doubled it since I was there, because I was there for his Mr. 300 one.
Yeah, you made.
Because there was a whole
300.
joke with when his wife Megan was making like the cake, and he had the whole Mr. 300 like the movie where we were making fun of that with some signs, and not fun of it, but you know what I mean, like just trying to spice it up and be like, oh look, you got number 300 coming up.
He piles on wins and awards like nobody I've ever seen.
It's nuts.
It's
It's pretty much he's almost guaranteed pretty soon to win like 60 of these games.
What's funny, like
And there's not even that.
last year we brought or earlier in the year we brought down the plaque from the league for Coach of the Year, and he's like, oh yeah, cool, just put that over the corner. Put that over there with the rest of them.
He has a wall. Does he still have it? Does he have all his awards on his wall in the corner of his office still?
He's run out of space, and I think that he's annexed a wing. In his
Hey, the real question is, how's the Division I wall going down there? Last time I was going, I think I was teasing with Dan. I'm like, you only have about one more row here, and then you got to find a new spot.
It's I think we're up to date on it, and it is all. I mean, it fills up the whole wall and then some. I think we've even gone with smaller picture frames, and
That's perfect.
but yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty soon we're gonna have to find another wall. Actually, this year we're gonna have to find another wall.
Big time. And maybe it'll have to even leak over into well, it'll be hard to fit in Zuroma too with all the pictures behind like the that circle booth, but it'd be cool if they had like a main display even like in the lobby somewhere too.
Well, we changed. So in Zuroma, we got rid of all those little pictures, and there's a mural up there now that has the Central Hockey League trophy, the Robertson Cup, and then the Fraser Cup trophies with the years that we've won them.
Oh, no way. That's awesome.
It was pretty cool. It's like 6 feet by 10 feet.
Watch, and that probably went up about a year and a half ago, and I'm just now finding out.
No, it went up during COVID because during COVID. Oh, here, this just in. We have an update to trivia with Frank.
Here we go.
I
The
couldn't
book is out.
No, okay. I did pull out the Brahmas media guide from pre-2012, and I have the answer to the trivia, and names were mentioned. Dan Wildfang sits atop the list.
Yeah.
Okay. Second on the list with 62 wins is Terry Menard.
Terry Menard, 62 wins.
62.
Dan's got 10 for every one that guy has.
Todd
Yep, so
Lamont,
Dan's going to be untouchable. Frank, Chad and I were talking when I was there. We had Mitchell Gibson. We were like, there is no way in heck any goaltender is going to come in and beat the shutout record. And then 2 years later, it was Bailey. Here we are with Dan, and I'm going to put another foot in the stone and say that's not getting changed.
listen, it took COVID to stop that record from being broken because
I know.
he would have broke it, right, last year?
Bailey, 100%. He would have had
Yeah.
13.
He probably had 13, 14.
That weekend, possibly.
Even if they let the other team play with a golf ball instead of a puck, he still would have.
Well, and the crazy part is too, you look at it because you had him in person running. What if person wasn't there and it was literally just the Bailey show? Would he have had over 20 or around it? Very good of.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, so third on the list, Todd Lalonde with 48 victories.
Okay,
Fourth was the aforementioned Al Sims
Sims.
with 47.
you guys did great.
Fifth on the list was with 41 wins, Bill McDonald. So there have been 9 coaches in the history of the Brahmas, okay? 8 of which came in a 6-year period prior to the NYTEX era.
Right.
only one of those coaches, Bill McDonald, had a winning record. So only Dan and Bill McDonald hold a winning all-time record.
And if you add them all up, they still don't beat Dan.
Oh no, not even close.
How about that?
You better keep Canute's door shut over there though. He might be peeking in here. Want to know?
Well, that's a different story. Now, if you want to talk about youth hockey victories, I don't think there's anybody in Canute's league, especially as it relates to high school hockey. The guy's been coaching high school hockey for 20 years.
100%.
He couldn't even add it up because as it relates to youth hockey, he helps with every one of our teams. He's on the bench hundreds of times a year. It's insane. So we have two of the greatest as a result, as it relates to youth hockey and junior hockey that coach right here in this building.
Hey, it's the spot. It's the spot to be. It still is and always will be.
Absolutely. I promise. This is my exit. I will not
You can come in anytime.
However, but I did have a media guide.
No, we're glad you did. We are glad you did.
I guess we gave him enough crap for not having an answer.
I told you I had the
Chad, make sure you write down these answers so we'll give them to Sydney for a new Trivia Tuesday down the road. So you listen to the podcast.
That's a good point. We'll give them to Sydney. In fact, here, we'll make a note of that. All right. So last segment. We'll conclude Farmers Only favorites with Nick.
Okay.
Last segment, and we've done this with every episode of the podcast.
Yep.
What's the biggest monkey that you could take in a fair fight, Nick? The biggest primate that you could battle with?
Got to be Godzilla.
That's not a monkey, though. That's a
Primate.
That's like a dinosaur.
It's a beast. I gotta win right now.
Frankie was episode 1. Episode 1 of Gloves Off had to be pulled. A little too hot for TV. Frankie Trezera was. We'll post it sometime down the road, but he went with a baboon. Mitchell Digby, who we have not published yet, he went with a lemur. The tournament director for Colonial went with a 100-year-old gorilla, and everyone else is abstained. So, Nick Marek, what's the biggest monkey that you think you could take in a battle?
Yes, I feel like baboons are going. Frankie had to go in there.
It'd be tough though.
Why isn't that once you say a monkey, every monkey name goes out one ear, out the other? Like you can't even think of a monkey.
There's that monkey on Friends, Marcel, little spider monkey.
How about Curious George? I want Curious George on my side.
Okay, you think you could take Curious George?
Yep.
Boy, what a jerk you would be if you beat up Curious George. Every kid in the world would hate you.
I might finish in last, but you know what? I'm gonna be first in everyone's heart.
There you go. Well, Nikki, with that, I know you got things to do. I got to jump on. I got a sponsorship call here. Business continues.
No, I hear you.
It's been wonderful. We the door's always open. You come on anytime. We'll hit epic waters. I got those.
Yes.
Got those saved for you.
Yes, I've been improving my golf game with all this COVID stuff. So hopefully we can hit the links again too.
I'm happy to hit the links anytime.
You'll wax me, no question. Probably by 15 strokes, but I'll.
What needs to happen is I need to go to Oregon because you got a little bit more golf course friendly weather up there.
That's very true, and there's a couple good courses. It's funny though, like in terms of like the quality of courses, they're good. There's a couple really good ones, but obviously Texas is going to take the cake there. But the quantity, there's a ton in this area because everyone loves to golf here in Oregon.
How far are you from Bandon Dunes?
Not very far.
Really?
And that's one of the big spots. I think it's an easy half day trip.
Okay. I got a group of friends that goes there once a year, so maybe I'll do that and make a detour, play some golf.
Oh, there we go. Now that would be fun. Or at the very least, you asked who's playing Chell on Xbox. Maybe you and I'll be playing some PGA on Xbox.
Let's do it. Let's play some. You got the new one?
I did. I just got it too.
Are you any good with it?
You know what? That one I actually am. It took me like a day or two. I was trash at the golf club that you and I were playing religiously when I was down there. I tried to pick it back up to get used to it, but I was placing like 90th or worse in all the tournaments.
Well, let's hop on one of these nights and play a round of virtual golf.
That would be fun. That'd be fun.
All right, buddy. Thanks for being on the show. And,
hey, thanks for having me, Chad. Can't wait to see you guys.
Yeah, buddy. Tell Amanda hello, and we'll see you soon, bud.
I will. Much love, Brahmaland.
See you, buddy.
Crazy cat. Did you see that? unbelievably unstable. I have not seen instability like that since probably my bachelor party.
Chad, how are you, man? It's been a while. I'm glad we got the chat. Thanks for having me on the podcast. We even got a new rebrand here, huh? Out with the old, in with the new. I like it. Gloves off.
Well, listen.
Hey, girls.
Sam, this is not like Penn and Teller. Sam does actually talk. From time to time as necessary. There it is, Sam. Good to see you.
I don't want audio! I do want audio.
Michael. See how it's like a TV.
When does this go live?
Probably.
Or not live, but when do you air it?
Probably the end of the week. We'll see. There's going to be a lot of post-production that goes on. Probably by the end of the week.